He's always coveted the worship of God. He wants to be God.
And
when we succumb to his temptations, aren't we giving in to him instead of following the Lord? Remember what happened in the garden? He was able to deceive Adam and Eve in the garden because they weren't focused on God. They weren't staying true to God.
no, instead of keeping their eyes on God, they were keeping their eyes on that fruit hanging on that tree. It looked so good.
She kind of wandered over there to that one, didn't she? With all them other beautiful trees to eat from, and she kind of wandered over there by the one that God said not to eat from. There must be something about that tree. I gotta go check it out. Well, we like that. Sometimes.
All the time. Yeah.
Now, since we're speaking of that, this may be. But anyway, when you are walking in the Spirit of God, when you are taking the time to be one with Him in prayer, being sensitive to the Spirit, being in the Spirit, when you take the time, 1 or 2 hours in prayer every day, and you understand more the mind of God, you're going to be more aware and have more discernment of the devil's tricks, the devil's deceptions. Because if you know how they have intelligence in military? They got guys out there studying the enemy, how they're going to move, where they're going to be, what kind of weapons do they have, what kind of communications do they have, what kind of planes do they have, where are they flying, where are they going, where are they moving. The more you know your enemy, the more you can fight it, the more you can win against your enemy, right? Doesn't that make sense? The more you know about how Satan works, you can see his scheme ahead of time, and you can avoid a lot of trouble. Because Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy, and that's what he wants to do to your life. And if you succumb to his tricks, it's going to ruin your life. He's going to do some kind of damage to you. And if you're walking in the Spirit, you can sense, I'm not going this way. I'm not going over there. I'm not going to make friends with this girl on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You just you don't go there. You don't even. Well, I'm curious about that. Eve got curious. We don't want to get curious. We want to stay on that narrow road. So, didn't we talk about that before?
Yeah.
Did we do more on that?
I think so.
So anyway, the law. How does the law help us? I mean, the law tells us what sin is. When you know what sin is, you know what to avoid, right? That's the purpose of it. You're not saved. If you're walking in the Spirit, you have the Spirit inside you that says, no, don't go that way. And when you do, you're going to automatically keep the law. You're not going to lie. You're not going to steal. You're not going to commit adultery. You're just not going to do it. Because that Spirit that dwells inside you, it makes you aware of sin. It gives you discernment. Don't go there. Don't go over there. You're trying to lose weight, don't be driving by that donut shop. Right?
Don't stop there for sure.
Oh. That makes me kind of a joke. This guy says, the guy, he's trying to lose weight, trying to stay away from the donut shop. And he's going around the donut shop, and he's looking for a place to park. And he's going, Lord, if you don't want me to have a donut, don't open up a parking plate. Or if you do, open one up. And then somebody left and he pulled in there. And he went around,
Say thank
he
you,
went
Lord.
around about 10 times before he found one. If you got a problem with alcohol, man, don't go to the liquor store. Don't bring it in your house. You put that beer in the refrigerator, what's going to happen? You want to quit smoking, don't bring those cigarettes in the house. So, the law and the prophets. Now, how does the prophets fit in? How does that fit in? When the three men walk.
Elijah represented the prophets, and all the Word of God is in the Bible is pretty much three different things. The Word of God is Jesus Christ. The Word of God is the law of Moses, and the Word of God is the prophets, because God told them what to tell us. So it's all the Word of God, and they're all were at a different, separated apart, like they were on the mountain from them. But as time goes by, and God's plan for bringing us all back to holiness, which we lost in the garden, all of these are going to merge again. You're going to have the law, and the prophets, and the priest, the king priest, which is Jesus Christ, who's going to have rule over all the world. But they're all going to come to him. He's going to be the Word, the law, the prophet, and the priest. They're all going to be in his tent, in his tabernacle. And that's why on the Transfiguration, that's what that was showing us. They all were standing there talking on top of the mountain, the three of them, three words of God together, right there together. And then when Jesus came back down to his witnesses, he was the only one left, because the others had merged into him. He became the law, the prophets, and the priest in one, the one perfect human being that has ever been, Jesus Christ.
The prophets, before God would bring judgment on people, he would send a prophet. He would send prophets to them many times to try and awaken them to come back to him, to start keeping the law, to quit bowing down to other gods. He sent these prophets to warn them. He gave them plenty of opportunities to come back. He's very merciful and long-suffering. He waited and waited and waited and waited, kept sending prophets, What did they do to the prophets?
Stoned them, imprisoned them, killed them, they did everything.
They don't want to hear it.
Don't tell us that stuff.
Don't tell us what to do. So he sent many warnings. I'm looking at these pictures over here. James has got a couple of lighthouses up here. And that light is up there to keep those ships from getting jammed up on the rocks or on the shore. It's to show them the right direction to go. That's what these prophets did. They tried to show them the right direction to go, and they just persecuted them, just ignored them. But God sent many warnings. He loves his people, and he sent as many warnings as he could to try and get them to come back and follow that straight, narrow road, to stay in that water that's deep enough for the ship so it doesn't get busted up on the rocks. So anyway, what would be the conclusion that we would take from this?
I think you just gave it. That's a pretty good conclusion. Stay in the light, out of the darkness. Because we have the law to tell us what the sins are that we should abide by. Those laws, not legally, but in spirit. Know what sin is by the law and stay away from sin. And like he said, the prophets are coming, that God sends the prophets what you should do when we're off the track and we need to get back on the right path. And then there's Jesus Christ, the Savior, who will save us all if we trust in Him.
Well, it seems like a good cutoff place,
Right.
and then we'll put it on there. I think this thing probably